Donald Trump Jr. was ridiculed this week after he likened shortages of certain products in the U.S. under President Joe Biden to living in communist Czechoslovakia in the 1980s. Trump Jr. made the remarks during conversation set on Newsmax with Sebastian Gorka, a right-wing media personality and former aide to Donald Trump. Gorka asked Trump Jr. to discuss the empty shelves and backlog of cargo ships in California due to supply chain issues, given his perspective as someone who, as a child, traveled behind the Iron Curtain and saw real socialism. When conservatives say they're socialists, the Democrats have gone radical. This isn't an exaggeration, is it? You've seen it done, Gorka added. Trump Jr.'s mother, Ivana Trump, grew up in Czechoslovakia before moving first to Canada and then the U.S. in the 1970s. He told Gorka his Czech grandparents wanted him to understand the freedoms and blessings we have here in the U.S. So I traveled with them there every summer, 6, 8 weeks. I've waited in those bread lines, said Trump Jr., whose father was estimated to be worth more than $1 billion in the 1980s. We're starting to see the empty shelves that I experienced then in communist Czechoslovakia in the 82nds in America right now. Grocery stores in the U.S. are having problems stocking certain products due to the coronavirus pandemic, a worker shortage, and shipping congestion at the Port of Los Angeles. Some social media users and conservative media personalities have shown images of empty shelves to attack Biden over the supply chain issues. However, some of these images have turned out to be photos from years ago. Trump Jr. was slammed on social media for the absurd comparison. A number of people also pointed out that last year, at the peak of the pandemic during the Trump administration, shelves in stores across the country were stripped bare of certain essentials and people lined up for miles in their cars or for blocks on foot to get aid from food banks.